Hey, what's going on, guys? John Riggs here.
That's right, Ernie Sosi, Reyes Marquis with John Rennie.
Yes, and we have a special guest for you all today. I'm sure everyone knows this guy. He is international. You know, we really don't need any kind of introduction for this gentleman. His name is Ricardo Cate.
All right.
Hi. How's it going?
Welcome.
I don't know this. Where's the cue card? No.
Yeah, we didn't have any cue cards here, man.
Okay.
So, man, tell us a little bit about what it is you do. I mean, it's such a pleasure having you here. I know that we had touched base a couple times. I met you over the Swaya.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's where I first met you. You know, we did that little thing there.
Oh,
you know, at the
in
ice
front
cream
of
shop.
Woolworths.
Yeah. So, man, yeah, what have you been up to?
Just drawing this cartoon that appears in the Santa Fe New Mexican as a daily, Monday through Saturday. It's the only native cartoon in the whole United States that appears in a mainstream newspaper as a daily.
Awesome, man.
Awesome,
And we're
awesome.
talking with you earlier, saying that it's international. Other folks from different countries.
Yeah, people through social media, and I'm getting invited to go to Amsterdam next year and other places. But here, basically, a lot of the colleges, I spoke at Yale and Virginia Tech,
Oh, man.
Ohio State,
Ivy League.
Central Connecticut, and just I even did a commencement address at Cal Poly in
Holy
San Luis
smokes.
Obispo a few years back, and just because of what I do, and I'm
Yeah.
like, and so yeah, this cartoon has taken the world by storm, and so
That's pretty-
I'm just enjoying this, riding the surf on this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, man,
yeah.
That's really important because I spoke to some youth, right, motivational speaking. And I was telling them that you know some of you are good artists, you're good writers, and that talent will take you across the world, man, if you let it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a perfect
Yeah.
example of that. You know, so
Oh,
if
yeah.
you have talent out there, you know that'll pay your way, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about how you got started. I know your artwork is just super popular out there, you know, not just with indigenous people, but, you know, and everybody in society, you know?
Yeah, well, basically, I went back to school at age 40. I have three kids that I raised. I'm a single father, and so I was going to school at Fort Lewis, and this 40-year-old sitting in this one class, and I needed just one more credit hour, and there was one class that provided that, and that was the school newspaper.
Yeah.
Up at Fort Lewis. And so I went in the back because basically everybody had their job already there. They had the editors, the sports writers, and so the thing was running itself. They had a professor that made sure everything went well. And so I'm sitting in the back for 2 weeks. I just got my art book and I'm just doodling. Nobody paid attention to me. I was this creepy old guy in the back. And so one day in the second week, end of the second week, people started coming in crying. I was like, what's going on? I thought someone passed away, and people were freaking out and crying, and then they started yelling at each other, and I'm just sitting back there watching them, and then the professor comes in. She goes, what happened? What happened? She was angry as well, and I was like, I had yet to figure it out, and then they held up the paper that was going to come out, and all it was someone that dropped the ball, and the whole back page of this newspaper.
Man, yeah.
It was like 8 pages. The whole back page was completely blank. They had no idea what they were going to put on it, and so I was like looking at my sketches and looking at them. They're yelling at each other, trying to figure this out. And so my hands started slowly coming up like this.
I like that.
And then they were like, "Hey, creepy guy in the back, what do you want?" I'm like, I think I solved your problem. And they go, what? And they come back here and they see my sketch pad. And I have enough cartoons and sketches back there to fill up the whole page. And they even had their pick, what they could put back there. And man, that became a hit. It was just little cartoons, little puzzles here and there.
Yeah.
And it became such a hit that the students asked if I could draw like a cartoon strip for that newspaper. So I came up with this strip called Fort Leisure because I was going to school at Fort Lewis. It was called Fort Leisure, and it was just college life, depicting college life. Anyway, the local tribe in Ignacio, the Southern Ute tribe, they have a newspaper, the Southern Ute Drum, and the editor got a hold of me. And he says, so are you the guy that draws this cartoon, and you're native? I said, yeah. And he says, how about you coming up with a cartoon for us? I was like, yeah, sure. You can draw that. We'll pay you $400. And I was like, I remember 400 was like
kidding,
4
man.
million for me back
Yeah,
then.
man, it still is today.
And so I said, yeah, and then he says, but I want you to make them native. I was like, native? Oh, I never really drawn native cartoons before.
Yeah.
Because all my cartoons were just what do you call it? Generic, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No race to them. They were just cartoons. And it was the first time, and that's when I came up with the native, with the braids and the feather, the loincloth, and that's the only way I could depict, one group of people, indigenous with the braids and whatnot. And I felt kind of bad because it was mostly like Hollywood, right?
Oh, yeah.
Stuff depict how Hollywood depict them. But then I thought, how else would you know their native?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
But this cartoon was a hit as well, and so I graduated in 2006, came back to Santa Fe, and I made sure that by 2007 that the cartoon would wind up in the Santa Fe, New Mexican. Long story short, that's how it
That's how
went.
it started.
Wow,
man,
you know, I think your cartoons are. You can tell your artwork by just the bandana alone being below the eye.
Oh, yeah.
That's just like automatically
signature,
it's your
yeah.
work.
Actually, my cartoons when I first started, my characters had eyes,
Okay.
but then I started thinking a little bit more about my dad's favorite cartoon, which was Andy Cap. And Andy Cap was his character, and you just saw his eyes and just his nose. But everybody else had eyes. But then I thought, what if I made the characters without eyes? And so the chief never had eyes, but his men did. And so I took the eyes away. I put the hair where the eyes should be.
Okay.
And it became a little more challenging for me to get emotions and stuff without use of the eyes.
Yeah.
But it really helped me a lot too.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first 3 years, my character has had eyes. About 2010, I took the eyes away. So
Now, what's your degree in?
interdisciplinary studies.
Okay.
It took me a whole semester to learn how to say that.
And that's how you become a cartoonist.
Yeah. Actually, it's a degree in K through 12
Okay.
teaching. I was a teacher, and so
Yeah.
That's an amazing story, though. The circumstances there that got you into it, right? Unforeseen. They needed you. That where all the things in the world came together at the right time for you to say, "Hey, I got an idea." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because sometimes those types of circumstances are actually blessings in disguise. You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened. That's how. Not to get off the subject, but James learning comedy. You know, we didn't. That was an accident, man.
Yeah.
You know, made by Indian time. Late. James and I at a show to do separate comedy. They were late. Can you go on together? No, we can't. Please. Okay, we'll give it a shot. Boom.
Wow.
You know,
That's how the duo became.
Yeah, 21 years, 20
Awesome.
years later.
Awesome.
how
So
life
we're
works.
going to
Yeah.
take a quick break, guys,
Yep.
and we'll be right back with you.
Good stuff.
Welcome back, everybody. And where are you located?
I'm from Santo Domingo Pueblo, formerly known as Santo Domingo, but now known as Kiwa Pueblo.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, we got to know a little bit about what it is you did at the beginning, but I understand that you're in comedy as well. Like, tell us a little bit how you got into comedy.
Well, that was it's kind of a fluke as well, but yeah, it was when I was going to school up at Fort Lewis. I was actually this was actually before I went to school. I had gone up there by myself, left my 3 kids behind, so I could kind of scout out the place up there. I knew Fort Lewis offered free tuition for natives, and so I wanted to make sure I was able to get in there. So anyway, I was in Ignacio, Colorado, which is about 24 miles from Durango, and this was in early February, so it was pretty cold up there. And I got there on a $50 ticket, and so I had $5 left in my pocket. But I had my drawing pad, and I was selling my artwork on the streets of Durango. And so I would catch a shuttle from there to Ignacio, because at Ignacio, what I had done was I had gone to this mobile place where they have mobile homes, and I went and asked the guy for a key if I could look at some of the mobile homes. Maybe I could move into one. And I remember he's sitting there, and he was just watching TV, and you could tell he wouldn't move. He wasn't going to move from there, the whole day. So I took the keys, and I took I picked the vacant one that was farthest from his office, and I opened it up, and I brought the keys back, and I told him, I'll probably take this someday, but. So what I did was I opened up the back door, And at night, I would come back in because they were heated and they had carpeting. That's where I slept for about 3 weeks. And then I caught the shuttle from there, from Ignacio into Durango, where I could sell my my artwork. So anyway, one night, it was a Wednesday night, I missed the shuttle. I was running, and the shuttle took off without me, and I was running after it, and it just left. And I had nowhere else to go. I didn't even have a jacket at that point. It was already cold, and there was a bunch of snow. And I was walking down the street. I hadn't eaten for a day and a half, and I was pretty hungry. And so I didn't know what I was going to do. I knew I had to find a place to sleep. So I started walking down the street, and then I was walking by this pizzeria place, and there was a loud people in there yelling, screaming. I looked in there, and then I saw this poster. It said it was a stand-up comedy contest, and what it was it was part of this week-long celebration up in Durango called Snowdown, where they celebrate snow for a whole week, and and up there, drop of a hat, they do parades and stuff. Well, anyway, so I saw this sign at the bottom. It said, "Winner gets a $50 coupon to this place." It was a pizzeria / brewery, right? So I was like, I was so hungry that I was willing to do this. I had watched Comedy Central before.
Yeah.
I'd never done stand-up, but I knew I could do it. I had worked on some material a little bit. And so I went in there, and I was number 15, which was the last. They were waiting for the 15th person to show up, and then it started. And everybody just concentrate on these people. And so that were going. And we each had I think it was like 2 minutes. 2.5 minutes, something like that, and they would shine the flashlight. And so I was number 15. I wasn't worried about it, so I started writing stuff on my hand like this. And so they go, all right, number one, and said, but they were doing like really corny stuff, like one-liners and stuff. And so I was like, I think I can do good. And so, and then 15 came up, and they called my name, but I was like really nervous because it's like all white people. I was the only brown person in this building. And so they were all drunk and yelling, and so I go up to the stage and I grab the microphone like this, and I was so nervous, I was like shaking. I remember that the microphone was shaking, and I forgot that I even wrote stuff on my hand. I didn't even look down, and I had forgotten, and so I think I must have frozen for like 15-20 seconds because I heard booing.
Oh man!
And I was like, then I looked up, and then the first thing I saw was all these white people, and so I go. The first thing that came to my mind was like, I'm really nervous up here, standing up here, but it's not because it's my first time doing stand-up. But I just realized I'm the only Indian in here in the room full of drunk white people. It just came to me. It wasn't even a joke. It was just me wanting to talk, break the ice, and right away got some laughs.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it started. I'm Indian. You may have seen me scalping tickets outside. And then it just took off. And then I did this one joke that just tore the house down.
Dang, nice.
And 20 minutes later, I got a big old thing of beer and big old large pizza, and I'm eating it. But it was done out of necessity.
Oh,
Man,
wow.
and so you won it.
I won.
You won it. Nice.
I won it 2 years after that too. So 3 years in a row, I was the champion. So.
That's cool, man. That is an awesome story there. That's a story of talk about the story of survival.
Yeah.
That do or die, man. Sometimes life puts us in that situation, man, where you just got to do it, man.
Yep.
So that's a great story. Thank you, man, because a lot of our viewers probably are in the situation of, man, should I go back to school? Which you did, Last week we did Mr. Moms, talking about single fathers, single dads, and that's what you are too, man. So you're definitely inspiration to us men,
for sure.
And to fathers and people out there who need that kind of story.
Cool.
So thank you for sharing that, man, because that's good stuff.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that because the whole time, my kids are in mind because I'm going to send for them. I'm going to go to school, and why am I going to school? Because my kids benefit, and it's a lot of times it just comes down to that, real simple.
Yeah. And look where it got you, huh?
Yeah.
And I believe that it's just the beginning, huh?
Oh yeah, just scratching the surface. I mean, there's still a Pulitzer Prize for cartooning out there.
There it is, man, right there.
So
Yeah.
I might as well get it. No, I was kidding. Might as well go for it.
Yep, might as well go for it. Got nothing to lose, man. You know what I mean? Everything,
Yeah.
Of
course, man. All right, guys. So we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be back with a little bit more stories from Ricardo.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. If you're just now joining us and just now tuning in, we are here with Ricardo Cate. He's actually a local New Mexico artist. He's not just an artist. He's actually the creator of the Without Reservations cartoon. And yeah, man, show us some of your artwork. I see him everywhere. It's not just local, natives that see this art. It's international. Like, you're everywhere.
Yeah, and here in the state, they're every once in a while you'll still see them on billboards.
Yeah.
Because of the COVID, and even Acoma had showcased some of my work, and so they were advertising, and so when you see yourself or your work on billboards, man, that's the ultimate high. It's like, it was really cool.
Yeah.
But I brought a couple of pieces with me, and this first one, first of all, my characters, because they're native, for some reason, I'm able to draw the chief and the general, which are like back in the cavalry days.
Okay.
The army.
Period.
Yeah. Just like Custer's Last Stand is coming up this Saturday, so everyone be there. No, I'm just kidding. So that happened. I draw cartoons about that, and then I draw contemporary ones where it's like they take place now, and I jump back and forth, and no one to this day has questioned it. Which is kind of cool. But anyway, these three that I have here are all what do you call it?
Contemporary.
Yeah. And it's this guy walking by the scale, and there's a sign above the scale that says your weight and degree of Indian blood, 50 cents. Because we all want to know our weight and our degree of Indian blood. Yeah. And I painted this during the pandemic, because I was bored, and I figured people up in Taos are probably bored as well. Yeah. And so this guy, instead of like ristras being like the regular length, because they have the tall buildings up there, all these ristras all come from the top all the way to the ground. And he said, the lady says, he's really proud of his ristras.
And those are the chili, right?
Yeah, the chili ristras.
Yeah, okay.
And so this was during the pandemic, and I was like, that's not really too far fetched, but it kind of makes you forget about what we were going
Not
through.
only do I like your artwork, I just love the use of color, man. It's just like, there's a whole, it identifies your art too.
Oh yeah,
and it pops. Yeah.
Yeah, these are actually going to a lady and that are ordered, and I was like, sometimes I'll draw a cartoon, and I try to make them funny, but then people will ask, can you draw this cartoon about the palm reader? I was like, you like that one? And they go, yeah. And so I painted this one. It's just a door that says Elvira Palm Reader, and then there's a sign under it that says on vacation in Palm Springs. so it's just a play of words.
Yeah, play of words.
And but this lady liked it, so I painted for her. But what she doesn't know, or she probably does, is if this is the only one I paint, then this becomes a one of a kind.
Yes,
wow.
That's right.
Which is kind of, because a lot of these cartoons, I probably painted this like maybe 20 times.
Okay.
Just because of the popularity and stuff. But sometimes some person will wind up with a one of a
custom
kind.
painting on one of a kind.
Wow. That is really cool, man.
And this will become valuable, especially if I pass away, right? But no, that's not going to happen soon. But I always try to carry some with me, and I just happen to have those three.
Yeah.
But I always get to try to get people try to get me to speak like here and there because of the popularity. So one day, at the very beginning, like in 2008, I wasn't much of a public speaker. I had just done some comedy and stuff on stage, but that was scary enough. But I was invited to this one museum where they had the collectors, if you will, 200 like rich white people were in the audience, and they invited two of us up there. This guy from up north, and he was already on stage. I had just run in because I was late, and so the dude was up there. He's all decked up in his what do you call it?
Traditional.
Buckskin, and he had the headdress, and he takes out his hand drum. He goes, "I'm gonna sing you a song about this is a song of sharing of my people. It's a song of sharing and caring." Then he goes into it. And he does his whole language, and the whole audience is mesmerized. And so he starts singing. And so the lady who's in charge, she comes out. She's all nervous. Where is Ricardo Cate? And they tell her, he's standing right behind you. And she looks at me up and down because I'm just like this, with my jeans, boots, my bandana. Yeah. And she goes, Ricardo, you're about to go on. Where's your outfit? I said, I don't have an outfit. And she looked all distraught, and she turns back. And so I'm standing there. And then she turns around. She goes, because she hears the guy singing. She goes, do you know any songs in your language? Can you sing in your language? I said, yeah, of course. And then she turns back. She looked somewhat relieved. Yeah. And so she goes, do you have any, she turns back around. And she goes, do you speak your language? Of course I do. If I can sing, I can speak, right? And she goes, oh, that's good. Can you say something in your language? I said, yeah, of course. And then so the dude finishes, and she goes out to introduce me. So the dude comes on. I'm like thinking, I can borrow his drum. So he finishes and says, that was a song about caring and sharing. Oh, and he comes out, and he walks by, and they said, hey, brother, let me borrow your drum. And the guy's like, no. And then I go, what happened to caring and sharing, right? And so I'm like, I'm going to use that box right there. And so she comes, and she introduces me. I go out there, and I go, Ameraho, Patilti, Oaesa. And so, my name's Ziltio, I come from Kiwa, and look over, and she's behind stage. The curtains is like this. And then I start to speak in my language, and I get it what do you call it?
Golf tap?
Yeah. But what I said was, I didn't really want to be here. I got up here. I got up, woke up this morning, did a number 2, ate some eggs and some Special K, and my socks don't match, but I really want to be here. But here I am. I did the signs and everything, but here I am. And they were all like, "Oh, that was great." I looked over there. She was like this, and then she was, and then I go, I picked up a box that the microphone came in, and I go, just like my brother, I'm going to sing a song of my people that my dad taught me, and I put out this beat as I'm talking, and he taught it to me, and I sing it to my kids all the time, and I'm gonna sing it to you now, and the whole place was like silent, and then I go, bloody an old man, poor man, running in the streets, you're gonna take on the world someday, and I looked over there, and that lady was like, but a few seconds later, the whole place was going for it. And so my message is, I am, this is what you get. I don't change myself for anyone.
Right.
I don't have an outfit. I don't have to prove I'm native. I don't have to speak native to say that I am native. And that's our biggest thing. Nice. That people, they have to accept you for who you are. And I'm not about to change myself for anyone. So.
Yeah, definitely, awesome. Man. That's the way it's got to be. All right, man. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you stopping in, to Reservoir Marquee and having you out here as a guest. It's been a pleasure. I love your art.
Thank you.
And look at that. All right, folks. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.